Hi there, this is Chino, and today we're going to discuss another form of a verbal phrase called the gerund phrase. Now, some of you may have heard this term being used before, the gerund. What exactly is a gerund? Well, the definition of a gerund is first of all, it's a verb plus an ing, and the gerund phrase is a phrase naturally that begins with a gerund, the verb plus ing. Now, some of you may be thinking, didn't we discuss this before? Another type of verbal with the verb plus ing. And yes, you're correct. It's called the present participle. So let me give you an example. So let's use the verb talk plus ing, talking. Now, talking can be used as a present participle when it is used like an adjective, meaning it's used to describe a subject. For example, you would say, talking to his mom, comma, the boy thought of ways to leave the room. If you are to use this verbal, the verb plus ing, as a noun, and if you're using it to name activities, then it becomes a gerund. So for example, if you were to say, talking is my favorite hobby, then it would be known as a gerund. So gerunds in turn act like nouns. So let's take a look at examples of how gerund phrases are used within the context of a sentence. Okay, this sentence is by John Hershey. And this is his sentence. It goes, pushing the handcart up to the man's house was tiring. So first, again, what I usually do is I identify the core sentence. Where is the subject and where is the verb? And in this case, you have a rather long subject. In fact, your subject here is your gerund phrase. So again, how do you identify a gerund? It is a verb plus ing, so pushing, and it's used to name activity. So this is the activity of pushing. So we imagine the guy pushing a handcart up a man's house. So this whole phrase, in effect, is your subject, and it is also your gerund phrase. Okay, where is your verb? Your verb is right here, was, which becomes your linking verb. So as you can see, pushing the handcart up to the man's house is your gerund phrase. Let's take a look at another example by Harper Lee from To Kill a Mockingbird. And her sentence goes, delivering a short talk made him word conscious, and learning current events strengthened his memory. Now, this sentence is what's called a compound sentence, and we'll discuss compound sentences in another video. But basically, it's two sentences combined as one with a coordinating conjunction and. So, in effect, we have two separate sentences. So let's take a look at the first one. Delivering a short talk made him word conscious, identifying the subject and the verb being made, and delivering a short talk is your subject. It acts as a noun, okay, which then becomes your gerund phrase. Okay? So in this case, again, your gerund phrase acts like a noun, and it also acts as the subject of your core sentence. Let's take a look at the second sentence right here, and it's a coordinating conjunction, so we'll treat this second part as a core sentence. Learning current events strengthened his memory. So again, same thing, identify the subject and the verb. The subject of the sentence is learning current events. This is what the sentence is talking about. So subject, it is also a gerund phrase, and strengthened being your verb. Okay, now I'll give you a little bit of a challenge here with this next example by C.S. Lewis from Chronicles of Narnia. And his example goes, he kept slipping into the deep drifts of snow and skidding on frozen puddles and tripping over fallen tree trunks and sliding down steep banks and barking his shins against rocks until he was wet and cold and bruised all over. Oops, I forgot the E right here. Sorry about that. Now, Again, this sentence seems very, very, very long, but it is actually one core sentence with one main subject, which is he, because it's focused on he, and your verb is kept. Now, everything else that follows becomes your gerund phrase. Slipping into deep drifts of snow, that's one gerund phrase, okay, with your verb slip and plus the ing, and skidding on frozen puddles, another gerund phrase, and tripping over fallen tree trunks, another gerund phrase. And again, these are just naming activities. These are the things that he, whoever this person is, the subject is doing. And sliding down steep banks, another gerund phrase, and barking his shins against rocks, another gerund phrase, until he was wet and cold and bruised all over. This is called an adjective, an adverb clause, which we will discuss later on. So there you go. That's a basic definition and illustration of a gerund phrase.